Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Santos and I'm an 8th grader at the Global Learning Charter Public School, and during the Holocaust unit we had to choose a book that we wanted to read, and I chose Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, and I really loved this book because I was able to go along on the character's journey with them, and I was actually able to learn a lot about the Holocaust while reading, and I was always flipping the page to find out what was going to happen next. So first off, let me start by telling you what this book is about. So, World War II is coming closer and closer to East Prussia, and everyone is searching for safety and freedom. And among these refugees is main character Joanna Vilkas, who is a Lithuanian nurse whose guilt of her past is overwhelming her. And the only options she has left is to help as many people as she can while trying to get back to her family in Lithuania. On her journey, she meets second main character Florian Beck, who is the most secretive out of all of the characters, and before he was a refugee, he was actually an artist, and he was being used by his teacher, Dr. Long, to steal art for the Nazis. And while this is all happening, his father is part of an assassination attempt on Hitler, which fails, ending up with his father being executed. And after this happens, Florian decides to flee, and in his possession, he has the most important art piece of them all, which is the Golden Swan. And since Dr. Long knew that Florian was helping him during this operation of stealing the art, Florian has to try to stay clear on his path of soldiers so the soldiers do not find out that he has this in his possession. Along the way, he meets third main character, Emilia Stozek, who is a 15-year-old pregnant Polish girl who has spent the last few years hiding in a German village called Nemmersdorf. And after Florian saves her from a soldier that is going to kill her, she decides to follow Florian on his journey, and as they are traveling, they stumble upon Joanna, and all three of them decide to travel together, and now they are making their way towards the Wilhelm Gustloff, which is this big evacuation ship that is going to take refugees to safety. Once they reach the port, they meet last main character Alfred Frick, who is a German soldier that pretends to be this great talented guy, only to give off a cavalier attitude and be driven by his own fear of death. And each chapter alternates between each of the characters' point of views, so this gives you a chance to really know what they're thinking and feeling. And for Alfred's chapters, it's mainly him writing letters back to his beloved back home, whose name is Hannelore, and he tells her of all the things he's accomplished and how he's so respected, but he's actually just a selfish child, in my opinion. So by now you can probably tell that I don't like Alfred, and he's my least favorite character. There are also side characters in the book, such as Eva, Ingrid, the shoe poet, and the wandering boy. And even though they're not main characters, I feel like having them in the book really gives the story a deeper meaning. And having all of the characters meet with one another and having them share their hardships with each other is like witnessing them become each other's family. But throughout the book, everything will seem like it's going great until something horrible will happen. So you can be reading it and you can think that everything's gonna be great, until all your hopes are gone, and it seems like no one's gonna have a happy ending. My favorite part of this book would definitely have to be when Florian and Joanna finally kissed, because throughout the story, Florian is portrayed as this mean, cold-hearted character, but whenever he's with Joanna, he would show his caring side, and when they finally kissed, I was really happy because I was waiting for it for the whole entire book. And my least favorite part would have to be when the boat sunk. And at this point, Emilia has already given birth to her baby, and her and Alfred have been separated from the rest of the group, so it's just him and her on a raft in the middle of the ocean. And at this part, Alfred seems pretty delusional and upset, which results to him getting mad at Emilia and trying to push her off the boat and try to drown her. And this was very hard for me to read considering what happens next to the both of them, but I won't spoil anything, so if you want to know what happens, you can read it for yourself, but be prepared, it's very sad. In my opinion, I do think a lot of people will like this book because, as I said before, it does alternate between the four main characters' perspectives, so it gives you a chance to understand what they're going through and what they're feeling, what their experiences are, and it doesn't stay too long on one character's point of view, and it changes it up a lot, so it keeps the story more interesting. But I would not recommend it for people who cannot handle gory things because it does go into great description about the soldier's wounds, so if you can't handle that, then I do not recommend this book for you. But even though there were a lot of parts that were really sad and made me cry, the story does have a bittersweet ending that I think a lot of readers will appreciate. but I overall think that this book was very well written and it was certainly worth my time, and I would love to read it again and share it with others. Before I go, I want to thank my wall for being my background, because originally I was going to film this in front of my bookshelf since this is a book talk, but then I remembered that since I have so many books, it broke my bookshelf. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this book talk, and I hope you would like to read my book. Bye!